Hello, it's Melissa Vining here, and I'm back with the Crafty Maven Getaway for Twerk It Thursday. And here are the two inspiration pieces for this week, and this is the sketch that we'll be working with. And I'm on today with Danielle Wright. And so the sketch is by Ashley Horton, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Ashley has such good taste in sketches, and we both were really keen to use it. So I'm deciding to scrap a couple of photos of my youngest, and this was in winter. We're now in spring here in New Zealand, so this would have been probably in July, and my older two were outside playing in the snow, and of course she wanted to get out there and get amongst it. So I made sure I got a photo because last year she was a little baby, and this year she's more like a toddler. So it was one of those capture the moment opportunities. So I'm just trimming down my photos, and I've printed them with white borders, but I didn't print that well, so I've just cut off the white borders, and now I'm just making sure they're even, so I'm just trimming them down with my scissors. And I'll be getting some white cardstock soon. I did think about matting it with that piece of paper there, and I'm using my August Hip Kit, which is, oh my goodness, totally gorgeous. And there you can see I've spared you the boredom of watching me mat my photos on white cardstock, but I love the white border that it provides, and I wanted to use up some of that beautiful vellum. It's got gold irregular polka dots on it, and I knew that it would look really good, kind of subtle in the background behind my photos. So I've just trimmed it down, and it's really just a scrap, and it's always good to use up all the little bits and pieces that we have. And I'm using my double-sided tape just to get that down. So I like these two photos together because they're very similar, but there's kind of different expressions on my daughter's face. And in one photo she's looking at me, and in the other photo she's looking at the snow, and I think it really captures the excitement of the moment for her. So now I'm deciding what papers to use, and when it came to the sketch, I wanted to stay true to the hearts. I think the hearts really imply area of embellishment. They don't have to be done as hearts, but I just love them. That's what drew me to the sketch in the first place, so I decided to go with that. I wanted to hand cut my hearts, and I wanted them to look irregular and not be perfect. So there could have been several ways to cut a heart. I don't have a silhouette cameo yet, but if I wanted a perfect heart, I could have folded the paper and cut half the heart, and when you unfold it, it would make a whole heart. But I love the look of irregularity and imperfection, and I think this layout really lends itself to that with my style. So here I've sped it up because I'm just literally hand cutting the same number of hearts the sketch shows. And at this point I'm realising that I don't want that vellum mat to be so big, so I'm just trimming it down. And once again using my scissors because I don't want it to look perfect. So there's lots of yummy papers in this kit. There's Pink Fresh Studio and Amy Tangerine, and I think some crepe paper. So here I've selected what I think I'm going to have as my hearts, and you'll see later on that I change it up because I don't want too many of the same pattern. And the little cute little tiny one was a bit of a challenge to cut, but I got there in the end, and I don't mind that some of the sides of the hearts are higher than others. Now the sketch showed what looked like some sort of paint swashes underneath the photo, and this is a piece of Pink Fresh Studio paper, and I did think about using some of those bits. It's kind of ombre, and there's different shades and tones as you get with ombre. And I thought about laying the two sort of pinky purple ones underneath the photo, and the sketch had showed some sort of rectangular thin pieces across the hearts, and I thought about using that grey one. But then I remembered that I have this stamp, and I got it from the Click Kits store, and I think it's by, I can't remember. I will link it in the bottom anyway. But if you head over to the Click Kits store, you can find it there. And I thought it would work really well for those kind of paint swatchy looks on the bottom, and it's like a brush stroke, and it's one of those looks that you want to get yourself, but if you're anything like me, it's just easier just to stamp it. Now, I'm getting really technical here. I'm using what I store my washi tape in. I'm using it to trace the 2 circles that the sketch show, and please excuse my head. I was really getting into it. And my intention was to stitch around them with my sewing machine and then rub out the pencil once I'm done. So just deciding where to put my hearts, and I realised that I need to put another kind of paint swatch at the top, or brush stroke really is what I'm trying to say. And I've done that, and it's in gold ink, and it looks more like kind of charcoaly grey in this, but on the actual layout it definitely looks like gold. And I'm committing to putting down the hearts that I know that I will stitch over, which is the reddy orange coloured one and this yellow one. And I took a bit of placement with that one because I need to work out how much of the heart is going to pop over the photo. So here I'm just sort of deciding where I put the other ones and just getting a feel for it, and trying to fix this these paint swishes. And I've just added some lines on top of the hearts where I want to stitch. So I didn't show the stitching because it would be painful and boring for you, but I just did a couple of circles, and now I've got this rubber. It's from Smiggle, or you'd probably call it an eraser, and it's electronic, so you squeeze it and it rubs out your pencil. And it was a bit rough on the stitching, so in the end I decided to leave the stitching and the pencil marks. And now I want to get this photo mat down. You would have seen that I've added my India ink splatters, and it took forever to dry because I'm nearing the end of my bottle and I think it's quite concentrated at the bottom. But I love how it looks, and it's pretty true to the sketch. And here is where I make a mistake, and I place my photo mat too low, and you can't even see the brush strokes below. So at this point I haven't realised, but I will realise soon and pull it up. And you can be, if you're careful and slow, you can pull up anything you've stuck down. And in the meantime, I'm just deciding where I want my other hearts to go. And this little one I have popped up. Now, my card was full on my video camera, but I didn't realise, so I apologise. All you've really missed is me moving the photo, like I said, and gluing the hearts down. So now I'm wanting to embellish, and I didn't really stick with the sketch. I guess that's where the twerking bit comes in, and that I've made it work for me now because I wanted to use some of the crepe paper Wonder ephemera and also the exclusive flare that came with the kit. And so I think on every single heart except the little tiny one, I'm adding some embellishment. These are the Dear Lizzie chipboard, what you call them, shapes or words, icons. And this one says yay, and I wanted to bring a bit more gold in. It's hexagon. I like the way it looks over the top of the photo. And I did consider having that word wonder in there, but I couldn't make it work. So I'll just be saving it for something else. These Pinkfresh Studio wood veneers are just really lovely. And I'm adding that one at the top. I think it says happy, because she's happy. And another little wood veneer heart. And I like the way the hearts look layered with more hearts. So now I'm working on my title, and I'm just calling it Hello Snow. These are some Dear Lizzie, they're foam gold foil thickers, and you have to be really careful with them because if you crease them, you end up seeing the crease on the letter. So I've tried to do my best there. And I'm pulling in some October Afternoon letter stickers that were in last month's hit kit. And I didn't really want a title that would have two words that were dominant. So I've gone with hello being the dominant word and snow being the not dominant one. And I've just added my journaling. And now I'm just using some colour shine and dropping that on. And I found that the first few drops I put on, I didn't shake the bottle enough, so it's really important to give it a good shake and get it all mixed up. So my final touch is to add some triangles on the corners, and I just felt that this layout needed a little bit more than what the sketch showed. And I think for me though, I have a hard time at stopping sometimes, and so I could have left it like this, but I just thought if I put these on the top left and bottom right corners, it will kind of stop the eye wandering really. So I've used my scallop punch and just punched the edge for a little bit of interest, and I did consider using the pink side of these corners, but I think the blue goes best with the snowy kind of white light feel of the page. And for a bit of difference and interest, I'm just adding some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals and popping them up. And I apologise that I'm partly out of the frame here, but you'll see it in my final shot. So I'm just putting the final one down, and I do have to apologise and say that there's no close-up photos because I've been having some issues with my editing of my photos. I'm not really sure why, but you can have a good look anyway at my layout here, and if you'd like to see more of my videos, there's a link to my YouTube channel below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back again next month.